Hi, my name is Steve Martili, and in today's video I'm going to mention and talk about the only thing that's stopping you. And instead of me just blurting it out, I want to unpack some ideas. Before I get into the video, I wanted to mention one thing. I have Audible series, a free Audible series from my book that has just come out back in September, leaving all the chapters on YouTube so you can watch them for free. It's not the whole chapter, it's maybe half or just under half of each chapter. Audible that you can listen for free, okay? So if you've been on the fence about getting my book, listen to the free Audible and then decide. Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about the only thing that's stopping you. For some of you, you might be thinking, well, it's your self-talk. It's your excuses. Wayne Dyer called it, he wrote a whole book on this, Excuses Be Gone. And to some level, it was about reframing your excuses, right? Like, well, I don't have the money, or I'm too old, or I'm too young. There's so many of them, right? That's why I'm not doing what I want to do, and that's why I'm stuck, right? But on some level, those excuses or that dialogue comes from the subconscious mind, which is what I talk about in my book, right? That dialogue or that story you tell yourself, it comes from, in a lot of cases, energy blocked up in the subconscious mind, manifested in the body as physical, we'll just say discomfort. It could be discomfort in the heart, it could be a sense of nervousness in the stomach, it could be a sense of not feeling safe in the base of the spine. All these energy centers are basically centers of energy that are either blocked or unblocked. Unfortunately, because of the way we've incarnated on this planet, most of those energy centers are blocked and not in balance, not in harmony, which is why we don't feel a sense of peace on a day-to-day basis. We have fears, we have anxieties, we have a lot of discomfort in our lives. And that discomfort means there's trapped energy in the body. And that trapped energy manifests as this disempowering storyline we tell ourselves. I'm going somewhere with this, is that the only thing stopping it's not your self-talk. Most people feel that self-talk, negative self-talk, you just have to live with it, which is not true. You can live a moment-to-moment basis and not have negative self-talk. The reason that's a normal state for the majority of people on this planet now is because of this trapped energy in the body. When the energy's trapped, it gives you a different perception of reality, and a certain storyline will evolve with that meaning that you make of this reality. Now, because we have free will, we can make anything mean anything we want. If we're 2 years old and our older sibling or our mother yells at us and we feel embarrassed, and then a bunch of our friends laugh at us, or anything like that happens, and we make it mean that I can't be expressive as a man, like I can't express myself as a man, because if I express myself, then people will think I'm weak, right? That belief system comes from, again, an incident when you were 2. You stored the energy, and then you made it mean something, because we're meaning-making machines. What I'm saying is that storyline that we tell ourselves is buried in the subconscious. Once you unchoke that energy in the body through the energy centers and rebalance and calibrate them so that you're back in a state of peace, the storyline goes away. In fact, the storyline changes instantly. So the key then, and the only thing that's stopping you, is your willingness to let go of that blocked energy in the subconscious. So if you feel discomfort in the stomach all the time, you have this anxiousness around the stomach, my question would be for you is, if we were working one-on-one, is, are you willing to let it go? And if the answer is 100% absolute yes, then you will let go of it. You need to have a technique and some training on how to do that, but once you do that, it's gone, which means the storyline changes and your perception of how you feel and look at other people in your life, especially people that are close to you, completely gets rewritten. Which is why I always say is that once you change and balance the energy centers and you unblock this stuck life force that's in you, and you untap it so that it's moving freely, the past and the future changes because your perception changes, which means it changes your reality and your tension of focus. And what you focus on is what you create. So if you came back to me and I said to you, hey, were you willing to let go of that anxiousness you feel in your stomach, right? And you said no, and I say to you, well, what is the reason you are keeping it? And you give me a reason, then again, it tells me that the belief behind that stored emotion needs to be reframed in an empowering perspective in order for you to let it go. And again, as long as you're willing to let it go, you can change. And as long as you change, then you'll have nothing stopping you. So it's this willingness to let go of the past past. And the reason I say that is because these stored emotions, in a lot of cases, came from the past. It might not be from this physical lifetime. It might be from 100 lifetimes ago. And it's come back, and this is the year, or this is the time for you to finally rebalance and let it go. Or maybe you're just going to carry on and live through this entire life in that limitation. Again, you write the story for your entire life, so that's your choice. You get to decide how it's going to go. There's no overarching theme that says you can't let it go in this moment now. If you believe that you need to live in a limitation, or you need to be lonely all your life, and you've just accepted that, that's fine. I'm not no judgment here. What I can tell you though is that it's up to you to decide to let it go or not. Now, if you do let it go, this stored emotion, which again creates this disempowering storyline and these excuses of why you're not getting what you need in life or what you want in life. If you decided to let it go, then again, it's very simple, because once you let it go and that energy dissipates, then new information comes in, your past changes, your future changes, your entire timeline changes, and now you're off in a new direction. So it's up to you. You have free will to choose. Now, going through the process of letting it go can be painful, because in a lot of cases that memory or that information was stored with pain. So if it was stored with pain, when you release it, it's going to release with pain. But I'm not talking about pain that lasts for months or years. I'm talking about pain that can last for maybe a few minutes. It might be a burning sensation around the heart or a tenseness in the head. But eventually, as you continue to rebalance and let it go, the subconscious says, okay, lets it go, and then everything changes in terms of your storyline or perception. Because you got to remember, these energy centers, when they're blocked with trapped energy, they're creating a certain filter of information in terms of your reality. As soon as you untrap that energy, guess what happens? The information coming in changes. And that's why I'm saying the past and the future change in the exact same moment. An example of that would be, when I worked with Lauren, or any person, where they look back into the past and they look at that specific person that might have been verbally or physically, or any person who has struggled with a parent in the past, and you still do, going on the other side of that, rebalancing the energy, getting that energy untrapped, and then looking back on that person and being like, oh, I feel sorry for them. They were doing the best that they could, even though they were treating me not the best that they could have, not with empathy, not with love. You feel sorry for that person because they didn't know what they were doing to you. And that's a very, very different way to respond to some sort of, even if it's verbally abusive, person in your life. You can look back on it and be like, oh, that was the best that they were doing. They were doing the best that they could with the tools they had. It's not about you, it was about them. So you're not triggered anymore by that person's presence or even their showing up in your life, which changes the dynamic, like I said, for your future, because now you're in a totally different reality, totally different timeline. So the only thing stopping you is you. I've had conversations over the last couple years where people have said, we go through this scan. And when I'm doing the scan, I'm looking for where is the resistance tension in the body? Where do we feel heaviness? And this one woman, I remember specifically saying right in the throat chakra. And I said, are you willing to let it go? And she's like, I'm not sure. And I said, okay, good luck. I can't help someone that doesn't want to let it go. You have to be willing to let it go, and you have to be willing to change, which means let go of that stored emotion around that energy center. If you can let it go, then what will happen is, then something I can help you facilitate. But if you can't let it go, I cannot help you, and you will stay the same, and you can have your old life back. It's entirely up to you, which is why I keep saying you have free will. The only thing stopping you is you. If I said to you, okay, you have this throat sensation, and you're not being expressive or speaking up for yourself with the boss or people in your life, close to in your life, your spouse, your parents, you're not speaking up for yourself because the energy's trapped there. What is the reason you're not willing to let it go? And then you would give me a reason. And then I would have to find out, well, why is that the reason? And when was the last time you felt that way? And then we go all the way back to this life, some other life, and find out what was the actual experience or the thing that you made it mean to express yourself. Because obviously you're the one that's preventing it from happening. Again, the only thing stopping you is you. Your willingness to change or let go. Okay? So again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I just posted all my audios from every chapter of my book. I'm just doing it now. Every chapter of this book, there's a free Audible on my YouTube channel. You can search for it, free Audible. 7-Day Manifestation Experiment. It's not the whole book, but it's a percentage of it, and you can actually get a sense of what the book's about without actually having to buy it. And then if you want to buy it, that's your decision. So you can check that out. Thanks again for watching and listening. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you know someone who you care about who could use this information that you're learning, then please share it with them. Thanks again for watching. My name's Steve, and I'll talk to you next time.